Harry, thanks for being here with me today at the IoTeX Real World Summit. It's a big deepen event. It's a 2-day event. We're here in Singapore. We're very excited to talk to you about 375 AI and what you guys are building. So maybe at a high level, to someone who's not super familiar with deepen per se, like what is 375 AI building? What are your roots in deepen and where are you guys at today?
Sure. So 375 AI is a decentralized data intelligence network. So what that means is that we use an array of sensors to collect huge amounts of information about the real world in real time. So that's movements of vehicles, cars, events that we might be able to detect. And we do that using a highly powerful and customized proprietary piece of hardware that we've developed, which is an expensive piece of hardware. It costs over $25,000 to build. The reason why it costs so much is because at the core is a NVIDIA Jetson GPU. So all of the data processing is done in an extremely privacy-compliant way, right at the edge. So connected to that box is an array of multimodal sensors, everything from environmental through to microphones, cameras, and they're able to detect what's going on and what it can perceive. That data is then converted into metadata, privacy-compliant metadata, and sold to businesses, commercial companies, mostly in the Web 2 space, to help them with whichever business challenges they have. That might be improving business performance, optimizing workflows, or understanding their customers and their behaviors better.
Right.
And in terms of kind of our background in deepen, we started the company 2 years ago, and initially with a vision to be the largest deployer of deepen stuff. We all became very convicted in deepen didn't even exist as a term when we started the company. It was more DY with projects like Helium and XNet, and at that time Pollen.
Yeah.
Prior to launching 375 AI, I was the CEO of Linksys, the Wi-Fi router company. So we had 8 million homes across America with Wi-Fi boxes. I had this mad hat idea to become a Web 3 router, which I still think is a great idea. But we launched 375 AI to become a major deployer, which we did. And it was through that process that we really learned what's great about deepen, what projects we love, what projects we don't, what parts of projects we love, what chains are good, what emission schedules work, and how to really launch a coin successfully. So 375's data intelligence network, testnet, is launching this week. We've pre-sold well over $1 million of our hardware, but there is a companion mobile app. We've got tens of thousands of people waiting on the wait list, and we're opening up to a small number of a few thousand of those users to begin to launch on testnet and mainnet to follow shortly thereafter.
Yeah, super exciting. I think last couple of months and this week for you guys with the testnet launch. How do people with phones contribute to your network? Because we know about the expensive piece of hardware you just described, but what does it look like for an average kind of person on their phone?
So initially, the mobile app will do a couple of things. One, if you own a piece of hardware, you'll be able to manage that piece of hardware from the mobile app. But phones, of course, are filled with sensors as well. So they are able to collect certain types of information, which add and contribute or create a more comprehensive picture of the world. So one example of what's being collected is cellular signal strengths across various different mobile operators. So we will have, one of the most, if not the most comprehensive view of where there are dead spots, which carriers perform better in what areas, where there's open Wi-Fi, where there isn't. And over time, we'll add more and more functionality to that app, which could include missions. So if there's a particular data need or a customer with a need to understand, I just came from New York, understand water towers on top of buildings. You see them everywhere. if we were to put a mission out to our hundreds of thousands of users to take photos of rooftop water towers in Manhattan, then that becomes another data source that is valuable and people pay for. We're selling this data for money. That money comes into the business. 80% of that money goes to the foundation. The foundation then buy and burn, and we have demand and buy and burn from day one of the network, which, this isn't a criticism because many other networks have had to build it to get sufficient scale to have any utility, whereas we've designed this business very deliberately to have real world utilization from day one, which I think is quite unique in the defense space, where many projects have been around, some of which for years, who either have no or very, very little paying customers, whereas we're having paying customers out the gate.
No, that's great. Yeah, I think Deepin definitely needs more of that, more revenue and more revenue on chain, right, accruing to the token. Have you guys? What have those conversations been like with the demand side? Because I'm assuming you don't really have a ton of data yet, but it's you probably have this pipeline of customers that you're talking to. Maybe what are some of the big kind of customer profiles or use cases that you're seeing kind of be interested in the network?
So certainly the categories that they fall into immediately and out the gate are transport and logistics. So freight, haulage, shipping, Amazon, FedEx, those types of businesses who want to understand not only where their trucks and delivery vehicles are going, what routes they're taking, but also what their competitors are doing.
Right.
Separately but related to that is high-frequency traders who could use this information to influence business performance. So if you're seeing an increase in Amazon trucks or a decrease in Amazon trucks, that might infer or give them a leading edge as it relates to their trading strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Another is brands and advertisers looking to understand their customers better. And of course, they spend hundreds of billions of dollars, on advertising. Much of which is billboards that you'll see everywhere. Many of our devices, or in fact, our first batch of devices are being exclusively deployed on Outfront Media's billboards, which, right, for those of you who don't know, Outfront Media is one of the biggest billboard companies in North America. They have 400,000 signs across the states in almost every major metro. They reach 7 out of 10 Americans every week. Wow. So the scale at which we can capture information, make it useful, but also maintain total data privacy and be compliant to all state and federal laws has been really the focus from the beginning. And then the last category is obviously public safety, which we think will come later on with scale. But obviously there's a huge opportunity to play a leading role in making the world a safer place.
100%. Well, thanks for being here. Super cool to hear about what you guys are building, and good luck with testnet launch this week.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. Yeah.